Hello again.
Again.
I'm Jake.
And I'm Marlin.
And happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Or it will be in a day or two. Today's reaction video is for a classic Cinema Snob episode. Way back in the era where Brad was shooting on high-8 tape and he was in between moving and had to resort to reviewing on his floor.
But it was a nice floor.
Won't deny that. And this is back when he was on YouTube and they had that time limit thing of 10-minute videos. So today's video is only about 7 minutes for a movie about a killer turkey monster. And it's also apparently a religious movie and an anti-drug flick. So,
something for everybody.
without further ado, let's get into this very unique flick.
Well, Merry fucking Thanksgiving, everybody. I know you probably expected to see me in some, I don't know, pilgrim hat or some shit like that. No, I'm not gonna do that. Fucking mess up my hair. But don't worry, I still came prepared. While everyone else is talking about what they're thankful for and all that bullshit, I'm gonna do the complete opposite. What am I least thankful for this Thanksgiving, other than my lack of furniture? Well, this little movie here called Blood Freak. Oh yeah. What better way to celebrate Squanto's birthday than with the movie where a man turns into a giant turkey monster and starts killing people. And to top it all off, it's also a religious anti-drug propaganda film that's rated X. Oh yes, this movie exists. I own it. The movie is co-directed, co-written, and co-starring Steve Hawks, who played Tarzan and the Golden Grotto. Well, if you are skeptical about whether Hawks is in this movie, in the opening credits they tell it to us not once, but
Very
twice.
pixelated age.
There. Now I can believe he's in the movie. Hawks plays a guy named Herschel. Gee, I wonder what that name is a reference to. Does he have two friends show up named Gordon and Lewis? Anyway, Herschel is a biker who meets up with a Bible-thumping hottie who takes him to her sister's drug party.
Huh?
Man, even the religious freaks went to drug parties back then. So they get to the drug party and the girl begs him not to do drugs. Most illogical scene, Captain. That is like if someone from AA took you to Beer Fest. It doesn't matter though, because Herschel doesn't exactly hook up with the Christian, but instead he starts an affair with the sister who reintroduces him to the joys of narcotics, causing him to become addicted by a sleazy drug dealer named Guy. This next part needs to come as a warning to all the drug abusers out there. Never do your drugs and then feast on some scientific turkey. I know it sounds far-fetched, but trust me, just check out what happens to Herschel in this next scene. He gets a job testing a new scientific turkey, and that's where the real fun of drugs starts to kick in. He has a little spaz attack, causing him to pass out, but when he wakes up, the unthinkable happens. And I am really emphasizing on unthinkable. His head is now replaced by a giant, let me get this all out, turkey head, and his speech pattern is that of gobble, 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 although he does mysteriously scream like a human in a few scenes. He wanders around people's backyards, probably the directors, wondering how this could possibly have happened to him, and how it will affect his love life. Of course, he doesn't actually say those things. I'm just picking up what I can from the gobble, gobble, gobble. Revenge begins to set in when Herschel decides to do away with all the drug dealers and drug abusers in the area. What a feast we got here. It's chicken run with less than zero stuffing. It's a good thing I brought my elastic sweatpants. Most of the drug dealers he hangs upside down and slits their throat, and one man has his leg cut off only because they actually found an actor with a prosthetic leg that they could make up to look real. Well, it didn't really work too well. The budget of this film is so low that I guess they couldn't afford to show the blood spraying from the leg. All of a sudden, the blood is just right there on the table in one awful camera cut. The torture scenes go on for quite a while, and mixed in with them are some truly bizarre scenes, like when Herschel's love interest finds out about his new head. There's the horrifying reaction, of course, but then it goes into some weird Spalding Gray monologue where she talks about how their kids are going to look very strange if they ever do decide to have any.
You think?
I have an idea. Don't date the man with the turkey head. After a while, you lose any interest in her teary-eyed monologue and just pay close attention to the gobble-gobble in the background.
Gosh, Herschel, you sure are ugly.
That's even better than when you can hear the director actually call out action in the background of one scene.
Barely.
As if that weren't enough. And that's a lot to have on our plate when we haven't even gotten to dessert yet. The movie puts in a happy ending where you would most certainly least expect to find one. The movie gets rather deeply religious as it goes into Herschel's redemption, making Blood Freak some weird propaganda film that you would see on, like, I don't know, the Bible Network or something. Oh yes, there is scripture reading, and that's what gets Herschel away from the drugs. And the turkey head. It's like you're seeing a multiple car pile up, then all is well in the end when we pull out one survivor who's like 90. This is all padded together by some coughing, chain-smoking narrator who rambles on and on about God knows what. I was a little too distracted by the fact that he keeps looking down at his lines, which are right in front of him. I don't get who this movie is for. This is one of the weirdest attempts to lure in the religious crowd that I've ever seen before. It's an X-rated exploitation gore fest, for Christ's sake. How are you going to lure in the Christian crowd with a gore film? How is that going to work? Oh, wait. Well, anyway. The back of the box says it correct when it claims it to be the world's only turkey monster, anti-drug, pro-Jesus gore film. And to my knowledge, well, they're right. Well, since Bob Clark never did a Thanksgiving movie, then this Thanksgiving, why don't you gather up all the turkey and stuffing, sit around the television, and pop in this little treat for the holidays. Oh yeah, the family will love it. After all, say what you want about the movie. It is more entertaining than football.
Visit me on MySpace. Oh, you know this is old.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
So, that was the classic Cinema Snob review of Blood Freak. I think Brad did, giving his limited apartment space at the time.
Well, you shoot where you can, and he apparently that was the only place open enough for him to. Because what, he got delayed in the middle of his move, right?
From what I've heard.
Yeah. And so he's sitting on the floor, doing his business there. Referred to his hair, which he can't do anymore. He doesn't do anymore.
Not really.
But he still has the same announcer voice, and so that's always good to hear.
Yee thinks Brad has a God-given voice.
Well, he does. It's good. It's a good speaking voice. He said it all.
It's a weird movie.
Weird movie, yeah, you know. This is a Christ exploitation. This is a horror thing. I can't figure out where it's going and what audience it has. Because if you're attracting the horror audience, there's enough other stuff that'll drive them away. I just can't figure it out. And it doesn't sound at all like anything I would put in the VCR, if that's what it took to play it, or a DVD or whatever, just because it sounds so bad.
I might see it out of curiosity, Maybe it was meant to be a fucked up art film, maybe. Probably not, but you never know. And the only reason I've only heard this movie once before I saw Brad's review.
You saw the movie?
I didn't watch it, but a few years ago, I think it might have been in October, I was watching Turner Classic Movies, and I checked to see what would be playing, because in the middle of the night, they usually play 70s or 80s exploitation or horror films.
Mm-hmm.
And Blood Freak was coming up. I only saw a clip of it. I think I was channel surfing at the time.
Okay. It looked awful.
I did do a trailer review of it with Christine on my show Old School Trailer Hounds on my other YouTube channel, and the main thing we took from it is the screams of the people getting killed are horribly dubbed. Like, you could do this and then just put one of those screams over it. These people should have gone to Rev Brown for help.
Oh.
In the scream dubbing.
No, I can't imagine that anything like this made any money.
Well, there are about 1 million exploitation films, so they must have made something. It looks like it was made on a low budget, and you know the expression, you make it on a low budget and you're bound to make at least a little bit. And
I know, but you still got to get somebody paying some money to put their butt in a seat to see it. And why would anybody? But maybe that's just me.
There wasn't HBO back in the 70s, no Netflix. And
No good sense.
it was a lot of fun, and I know Brad's not that fond of his earlier Cinema Snobs due to all the time limit he had at the time. But for me, Brad's one of those reviewers where even if he goes on for an hour or less than 10 minutes, his delivery, his writing is still very good, and as you said, he has the great voice to make it work.
He does. He does. And he is a good writer. We've seen that from a number of the films that he's scripted and all that sort of thing. But he does a good job on his writing, and the voice just comes with.
Indeed it does. I'm terrible at impersonating Brad, but thank you for joining me once again, Guy.
Glad to be here.
And happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Have a good time with your family, unless you are estranged and want nothing to do with them. But happy Thanksgiving. Hope you at least get some decent food, and we're going to go celebrate now with our matching flannels. Later.